Hello, this is your special education virtual content specialist with the 8th grade lesson for May 19th. This lesson, like all other lessons, can be found on TeachHub, and each lesson provides the title, the focus question, the learning objectives, including the standards and objectives for each lesson. Additionally, we provide guidance for using this resource, including instructional and technology guidance, implementation guidance for the lesson, guidance for summarizing, guidance for assessment during instruction, and general methods of engaging with students with disabilities and multilingual learners. 8th graders are working on Unit 8, the Pythagorean Theorem and Irrational Numbers, Day 16, Finding Unknown Side Lengths, Part B. How can we find the missing side length of a right triangle? The launch asked students which of the labeled lines are a hypotenuse. In order to support students with disabilities, transformed the slide into a checklist and then gave a space where students can explain their thinking. So students would literally check all of the labeled lines that apply in this particular slide. Based off of Part A, students should know that only letters F, H, and K could be the possible hypotenuses since they are across a right angle. For the Explorer, you can divide it into an I do, we do, you do. So this question would be an I do. Find the value of C, explain your thinking. First, I would let students know that this triangle is already pre-marked with A, B, and we're looking for C. And just by noticing where C is located, right across from the right angle of the triangle, I know that that is the hypotenuse. So to find the value, I'm going to use the Pythagorean Theorem as stated, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And I'm going to fill in the values. That way I can find the value of c. So square root of 10 squared plus the square root of 40 squared equals c squared. And so the square root of 10 squared is 10. The square root of 40 squared is 40, and that equals c squared. 10 plus 40 is 50, which equals c squared. And so when I find the square root of each, that means the value of c is the square root of 50 units. You can treat this slide as the we do. So students should be guiding you into saying that the square root of 8 is A. We're looking for B. And the square root of 26 is C. So that means that in A squared plus B squared equals C squared, we're looking for B squared. And so you can leave it like that, or you can set it up for students as B squared is C squared minus A squared. So then you would just fill in for the information that you have. And so we have the square root of 26 squared minus the square root of 8 squared. So we get that B squared is equal to 26 minus 8, and 26 minus 8 is 18, and the square root of B squared is equal to the square root of 18, so B is equal to the square root of 18 units. This slide can be treated as the you do, and so a right triangle has side lengths of 2.4 centimeters and 6.5 centimeters. What is the length of the hypotenuse? And so students should find that the length of the hypotenuse is going to be the square root of 48.01 centimeters. For the next question, a right triangle has a length of 1/4 and a hypotenuse of length 1/3. What is the length of the other side? And so students should come up with the answer that the other side is equivalent to the square root of 7 over 144. This last slide in the Explore can also be treated as a you-do, and when students find the answer, they will get that the length of x is 3 units. To synthesize all of the slides in the Explore, you can ask students to share how they found the missing side lengths. If students drew triangles for the 2 questions that did not have an image, display a few of these for all to see, noting any differences between them. For example, students may have drawn triangles with different orientations or labeled different sides as A and B. For the last question, which we are currently presenting, ask students to say what they did first to try and solve for x. For example, while many students may have found the length of the unknown altitude first and then use that value to find x, others may have set up the equation 34 minus 5 squared equals 18 minus x squared. Point out that when you know 2 sides of a right triangle, you can always find the third by using the Pythagorean identity a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Remind them that it is important to keep track of which side is the hypotenuse. For the summary, students are going to record their response to the focus question. How can we find the missing side length of a right triangle? You can provide them with a sentence starter so that they can focus more on the content of their answer rather than on the sentence structure. Once students respond to the focus question, they can complete the cool down to assess their learning of the material for this particular lesson. For additional practice, students can complete IXL, R.2, Pythagorean Theorem, find the missing leg length, Khan Academy, Pythagorean Theorem, find the length of the hypotenuse, or engage New York Grade 8, Module 8, Lesson 16 problem set. These lessons were created utilizing these resources, so feel free to use them to support your students' online learning. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to a virtual content specialist. Thank you.